guys to this first true lesson. The first big chunk in terms of grammar, which is about gender and number of nouns. First of all, what do I mean by number? Number is singular or plural. So you guys, you see it here, singular and plural, right? And what I mean by gender is that the nouns in Italian could be either feminine or masculine. That's why we have feminine singular, feminine plural, masculine singular, masculine plural nouns, which gives us 4 cases. So let's start with feminine singular and feminine plural nouns, okay? How do I recognize a feminine singular noun? Because I look at the ending of this noun, and the ending is a. This is what I pronounce as a. Now, feminine singular nouns, examples would be, for instance, gatta. As you guys see here, gatta ends with a, and therefore that's gatta. Feminine plural nouns, they do end with my e, okay? Therefore, if I want to change gatta and pluralize gatta, I will write here down and I will say gatte. Let's draw 2 boxes, right? A, e. Below a, we'll put feminine singular nouns, example gatta. Below a, we'll put feminine plural nouns, example gatte. Alright guys, so examples of feminine singular and feminine plural nouns. Example number 1, gatta. Gatta becomes gatte. Female cats. Casa becomes case, houses. Bambina becomes bambine, baby girls. Figlia becomes figlie. So here, very careful. Figlia becomes figlie, daughters. Scarpa, shoe, scarpa becomes scarpe, shoes. Maglietta, maglietta, to pronounce the make the tip of the tongue touch the palate, touch against the palate, drag it forward. Maglietta, 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 maglietta. Plural would be magliette, t-shirts. And then final, the last one, sedia becomes sedie. Sedia becomes sedie. Let's now, this is feminine, so guys, we're gonna actually write it here, feminine singular, right? Because it ends with a, and this is feminine plural because it ends with my e, okay? At this point, we go to masculine singular and masculine plural nouns. Nice. Let's now discuss masculine singular, masculine plural nouns. How do we recognize them? Because of the ending. This time around, for masculine singular nouns, the ending is with a, and for masculine plural nouns, the ending is with my I. Let me just give you some examples. So for instance, if I say tavolo, tavolo, right? And then we know that tavolo, which means table, which is table, okay? Tavolo changes into tavoli, right? Tavoli, okay? So table becomes tables just by changing the a into I. Very simple, very nice and clear. That is, first of all, how we recognize masculine singular and masculine plural, and second of all, how we change masculine singular into masculine plural nouns. Let me also give you some other nouns that are masculine, and let's see together some masculine nouns and how we can change them into masculine plural nouns. So examples, let's go with some nouns here, okay? Gatto, which becomes gatti, which is male cat, male cats. Tavolo, which is table. Tavolo, which becomes tavoli. Tavolo, tavoli. Letto, which is the bed where one sleeps. Letto, which becomes letti. Libro, which is book. Libro, which becomes libri. Cuscino, cuscino. Important here, guys. This sound right here, meaning S and then C, to you guys is like SH, okay? So those two are equivalent. Sh, cuscino, cuscino, which becomes cuscini, pillows. Divano, which is couch, which becomes divani, couches, sofas, etc. Bagno, bathroom. Bagno becomes bagni. Bagno becomes bagni, bathrooms.
And then cappotto becomes cappotti. Cappotti. For when it's cold, coats.
Alright guys, so now that we have it here, please write all of them down, okay? And then record, listen and repeat. So guys, now this should be our chart. A, E, O, I, okay? A for feminine singular nouns, example gatta, meaning female cat. E for feminine plural nouns, example gatte, female cats. O for masculine singular nouns, example gatto, male cat. And I, my I, for masculine plural nouns, example gatti, male cats. So guys, A, E, O, I. Let's now go to the irregularities, and the irregularities, as we'll see, will involve this A right here and this here right here, okay? Before doing anything at all though, right? Guys, let's stick with this chart. Let me go first to the irregularities and then we'll go back to this chart and complete it. Guys, however, there are some irregular nouns. For instance, here I've classified them. So feminine singular nouns that are irregular. So 90% of them ends with A, but there's a 10% that ends with E. So even though it's singular, okay, the noun, instead of ending with A, your A, ends with your I, which is my E. So examples: madre, mother, this is one mother. So it looks like plural, but it's feminine singular, okay? Madre, mother. Cenere, which is ash. Cenere, cenere. Lezione, which is lesson, which is also feminine. And carne, which is meat. Those four words, those of course are only an example, but those four words are irregular because they are supposed to end with A, but they do end with E. Madre, cenere, lezione, carne. Now, if we want to make the plural, we have to understand the following, that E pluralize I. Okay? So in other words, if I have to change here madre into plural, I would say that madre becomes madri. Okay? Cenere, ash becomes ashes, so ceneri. Lezione becomes lezioni. Carne, which are right here, carne becomes carni. However, guys, carne, because it's meat, doesn't really pluralize. Carni, indeed, in Italian, means fleshy remains of a corpse. So please, guys, be careful with your pronunciation, because realize that you might get in a restaurant and ask for fleshy remains of corpse instead of a nice beef. So guys, very careful. Remember that carne pluralizes carni, which is fleshy remains of a corpse. But with that being said, the normal pluralization for nouns, we're now looking at feminine singular, but we'll look also at masculine singular. The normal pluralization goes from E to I. So madre, madri, cenere, ceneri, lezione, lezioni. Now we go to masculine singular nouns. The same thing applies. So 10% of them will end with E instead of O, okay? And here I have some examples. Padre, which is father. Bicchiere, which is glass where you drink. Pane, which is bread. Piede, which is foot. And giornale, which is newspaper. We also saw earlier that madre would become madri. So one madre, multiple madri. Okay? And the same applies here, because the rule for irregular nouns, whether they are feminine or masculine, is that e pluralizes into I. Okay? So e becomes I, in other words. Okay? And so padre would become padri. Bicchiere, bicchieri. Pane, pani. Piede, piedi. And giornale, giornali. Careful with the pronunciation. When I say e, I pull my lips backwards and open a little bit, just a little bit the mouth, right? So by dropping the jaw. So I'm smiling. E, e, e. When I say a, I'm dropping my jaw. Okay? A, a. When I say E, I am pulling my nerves in my neck. E, E, E. A, E, I, I. Okay? Guys, I really emphasize these sounds so that the pronunciation is clear, especially at the beginning. This is extremely important, right? Keep in mind that it's we'll go back to the chart and we'll visualize it better, right? Keep in mind that irregular nouns are e that changes into e when you have to pluralize it, okay? And also keep in mind the fact that if it's a feminine noun, it goes from a to e. If it's masculine, it goes from o to e. We'll see this in a second, visualized in a chart.